The Carolina Panthers have signed wide receiver Chris Hogan, formerly of the Super Bowl champion New England Patriots. Chris Hogan has played a huge part in the Patriots' 2 Super Bowl wins over the last 3 seasons. So he's basically played in 3 straight Super Bowls. Will that mean the Carolina Panthers will go to the Super Bowl this year? Who knows? But Chris Hogan moves on from the Patriots, signing a 1-year contract with the Carolina Panthers. He did not have a great season this year. This is why he only got a 1-year contract. If a lot of you guys would remember, especially if you play fantasy football, Chris Hogan was looking at a breakout season in 2018. A lot of people, especially fantasy experts, were excited about Chris Hogan going into this past season, putting up some big numbers. Brandon Cooks left. He's going to be the true number 2 behind Julian Edelman, and even Edelman was suspended for a period of time. That never materialized. A lot of the time, Chris Hogan would play. He would get regular snaps. But honestly, Chris Hogan's role became sort of a decoy in a way. He became the spread the field sort of guy. The Patriots would send him on deep routes down the field and never really use him. And he would just be there to spread the field, spread the defense out. And Chris Hogan has had some success throughout his NFL career, specifically in 2016 and even a little bit in 2017 with the Patriots. In 2016, his first year with the Patriots, I thought he was really, really good. He was a great number 2 option for the offense, and he really materialized into a great signing for the Patriots. And I still think he ended up being a great signing for the Patriots. 58 targets, 38 receptions, 680 yards, and a 17.9 yards per catch, which led the NFL in 2016. He had 4 touchdowns that season, and he played a huge part in the playoffs, a big part in the Super Bowl win over the Atlanta Falcons, as well as a humongous AFC Championship game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. One of the greatest AFC Championship performances that we'll ever see from a receiver. Now, there are strengths, there are weaknesses to Chris Hogan's game. I will say that Chris Hogan is a very smart receiver. He has good long speed. He can run fast down the field. That's why he had that 17.9 yards per catch. He can burn corners, so you kind of have to be aware of that speed down the field. He's a taller guy, but he's not necessarily a physical receiver. He has decent hands, but they're not like fantastic. He's a pretty good route runner, and he can play every spot on your offense, but he's not a great slot guy. He's better on the outside, and really that's where he played a majority of the time for the Patriots. I will say he's an excellent run blocker. He is really good in that facet of the game. Outside of that, he's not a great receiver. I think he's an okay number 2, a good number 3. And if I'm really being honest, I think he's probably a number 3 in the NFL right now. He really just, after that rough season last year, I feel like he may have lost a little bit of confidence. He may have lost a little bit of speed. I'm not exactly sure what it was, but Chris Hogan never really seemed to get any traction last year as a Patriot. Now, he still had 532 yards. He played all 16 games. He had 3 touchdowns. So it's not overall a bad statistical year, but he was expected to do and exceed that margin by so much. And I would really say as a Patriots fan that Philip Dorsett a lot of the times played better than him. Now, Chris Hogan played more than him, so obviously the Patriots felt he was more valuable to their offense and what he could do because a lot of the little things. But as far as just pure receiving goes, I really feel like Philip Dorsett was probably the better option for the Patriots down the stretch of that season. Hogan, he had 5 touchdowns in 2017, which was his career high. That was really the year where a lot of people thought he was going to break out, like, because he was starting off the season so hot, and he ended up getting injured. And since that point when he got injured, in 9 games, he had 439 yards, 34 catches, 5 touchdowns. He looked like he was a really solid receiver at that point and was even outproducing, some of the bigger names on their team at that point. But the Patriots, obviously, when he came back, he wasn't the same guy. So the thing for me is with the Panthers, will they get the Chris Hogan from 2016 and in the beginning of 2017, a motivated player on only a 1-year contract, Or will they get the player that we saw in 2018 who was invisible a lot of the times? He didn't really show up. He made a couple of big plays in the AFC Championship game, namely the one-hand catch. But overall, Chris Hogan is a player that I think is a number 3. He's going to play on the outside for you, but he can do a little bit in the slot. It's interesting to see what the Panthers are going to do with their receiving core because they have a very interesting receiving core. They still have, of course, DJ Moore. They have Samuel. They have Hogan. They still have Greg Olsen. He's coming back for another year at tight end. Christian McCaffrey, obviously. So I think he's just another layer, another player that they can add to the depth of their position. I don't think this is a big need for them because they've basically filled this need through the draft the last couple of seasons. They're probably going to go elsewhere, whether that's defensive line, safety, corner possibly. They're probably going to go defense, maybe offensive line in the draft. But Hogan's a nice one-year signing, and I can't go without saying that he is a great character in the locker room. He's a fantastic human being. I think will bring a lot of leadership to the younger receivers on the Panthers receiving core, and I think he'll help them in terms of just recognizing defenses, understanding coverages. He obviously played in the Patriots system, which is a very complex offensive system, especially from a passing system wise. So Hogan, maybe in a simplistic system, will be able to pick that up better and maybe possibly even play a little bit better. But I will say this with Hogan, I wouldn't expect a ton from an on-field product standpoint. I would expect him to be a complementary piece because a lot of the times with the Patriots, even with his most success, he was really successful against zone coverages. His smarts allowed him to find the holes and Tom Brady would hit him, and he was good after the catch. But when it came to man-to-man, he really does struggle in that regard, and he struggles to get away from defenders in man-to-man coverage, especially press. So look out for Chris Hogan this year on the Panthers. Hopefully he has a successful season. I'll still be a fan of him going forward. And as for Panthers fans, I hope that he can play as good as he did in 2016 for us, for you guys, because I think Hogan is a great dude, and I think he'll bring a great personality and a great just person to the locker room that I think will help Cam, help the receivers, and help the offense in general. That's my thoughts on Chris Hogan signing with the Carolina Panthers. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about this signing. Gronk, spike the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It's Mitch. Peace.